Hey guys, welcome back to the channel for part 2 of what is cam timing and why it is important. And let's just jump right into it right now. All right, for all purposes of this cam timing video, I want you to appreciate that I already untuned my perfectly tuned bow for season. Now it's only January, so it's not that big of a deal, but I did untune this just now to show you cam timing. If you haven't watched part 1, we're gonna drop that video right here or here or here, somewhere in here. It's gonna be the other video for part 1. You gotta go watch that to make sure you understand why we're doing this and why it's important. So cam timing on a bow. I didn't say this in part 1, but think of this top cam as one motor and the bottom cam right here as its other motor. And there's 2 of them on this bow and they have to work in sync. They gotta be perfect. And now I'm gonna show you how to fix that. If you remember our diagram on video 1, why we need to fix it, what it is. So let's just dive right into it. Now this is the last chance press with the draw board. I've got my OMP vise right here so I can check levels after this. But I'm just gonna go ahead and draw this back until I slowly get to full draw. Now, be safe when you start doing this. If you have a last chance press or a last chance draw board, always have an arrow in your bow. You do not want to miss dry or a misfire or a dry fire on your bow. So always have an arrow in there. You never know what could happen. And so I'm gonna focus on the bottom cam first. We're gonna click, 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 and wait until that slowly contacts that cable right there, okay? It's actually a little too much, so we're gonna go like that. Perfect, that's about what it looks like for me at full draw. You can see on this bottom mod right here, I am contacting that cable. You could see this, I am off the mod on this cable right here. I'm not touching. So that's not good. That's an amount that you might not see or feel to the naked eye or just shooting your bow, but it is definitely an amount that is going to throw your bow off when you start shooting broadheads and fixed blades out to 70 to 100 yards. So what we're gonna wanna do is bring this back down, nice and slow. Obviously this process you wanna go really slow. No fast movements here. Go nice and slow. We wanna protect our investment. Okay, perfect, we are back. So if we remember, now this might be a little trial and error for you if you've never done this before, but since we're right at the press, we're gonna come to the press and I'm gonna fix that. So step 2 would probably be a good tip right here. A tech tip would be to check your poundage right now. Let's say I'm really high on poundage. So this is gonna be a 70-pound limb is what it says on the sticker on this Alpha 33. It's a 70-pound limb. Let's say I'm hitting 71.5. That means that I'm high on my poundage and I'm probably out of spec somewhere. And so you have 2 choices. The bottom cam was touching first. The top cam was not touching at all. It was about maybe, I don't know, an 1/8 inch out, maybe a little less. So if I'm high on poundage, I do not want to add twists to this cable. You can either add twist to the bottom cable or take twist out of the top cable in order to de-advance that cam. Advancing this bottom cam is a good option, but you're already high on poundage. Remember, you're hitting 71.5. If I add twist to this control cable down here, my poundage is gonna go up, my draw length is going to increase, and my axle length is gonna get a little bit shorter. So you could see, like if I pull on this cable, watch the movement, it's gonna open that cam up, okay? So that is one option. I'm going to go for option 2, and I'm going to take twists out of the top control cable, get my poundage back to right at 70, maybe 70.5, and I'm going to make sure that that cam opens up a little bit and is able to hit this cable sooner. So let's do that right now. I'm gonna put this in here, I'm gonna put the bow in here, make sure my bow, here's another quick tip for you. Make sure that the limbs are all the way up into your bow fingers right here so it doesn't slip out. This is a linear press. So, all right, we're gonna press this guy. We're gonna make sure the string goes a little slack. Perfect. You can take the string and just rest it to the side so that you can access this cable. Now you're gonna take it off. Don't let it come out of your hands. Hold it in this spot, okay? So now what you're gonna do is you can look down and see how this is twisting. It's twisting towards me. Adding twist to this cable is going to open that gap even further. Remember, this cam was hitting first, so we're gonna take twists out. Now 1/8 of an inch on Hoyt stock strings, they move a little slow, so I'm gonna go 1 full revolution, and then I'm also gonna go 1/2 of a revolution. So that's 1.5 twists. That does not accumulate to the 1.5 pounds that we are over on spec. It really doesn't. Like, I think it's probably gonna be about 1 pound, maybe. So now that I've got 1.5 twists out of the top control cable so I can advance that cam a little bit, I'm gonna make sure that I'm routed. I'm gonna take a couple extra seconds on here. I'm gonna pull up on my string, get a little pressure. Make sure these cables are staying on and routed perfectly, top and bottom. I'm gonna go ahead and unpress this bow. Okay, we're unpressed, perfect. Let's double check it again just for fun, just because we don't wanna draw it back and have something happen. We are routed really well. Okay, perfect. So we're gonna put this back in here and we're going to check our timing again and make sure that we did the correct amount. This could be trial and error. I totally guessed on 1.5, to be honest with you. When I detuned this, I just started grabbing cables and twisting it, so I have no clue if 1.5 is gonna be on or not. But doing this as long as we've been doing it, that amount that we were out, maybe 1/8 inch, is typically about 1.5 twists on Hoyt strings. So what we're gonna do, we've got our rubber band on here to hold the bow. We've got our safety loop on here. We're just gonna draw this back nice and slow because you already have an arrow in here. Everything's routed, so we're just gonna draw this back and we're gonna check. Okay. As you start to get close to full draw, the beautiful part about this press is you can get close and then use the press as a little guide as well. So that's too much for a click, so I'm gonna open up the press a little bit. If you can see the bottom cam right here, I'm getting close. I'm gonna keep going nice and slow. I'm looking at top, I'm looking at bottom. If you don't have the pirate eye when you're doing this, if you don't go, "Arr," you're not doing it right. You gotta really pay attention. Okay, so I am about, never mind, it is money. It is perfect, actually. Okay, I've got the bottom cam touching. I've got the top cam touching. That's perfect. Oh, all right, we hit it on the first shot. Okay, so that's how you fix your cam timing. So I'm gonna let this down nice and slow. Whew, okay, we got it back in spec. Look at that. Okay, so I'm gonna just hold it just to make sure it doesn't tip on me. All right, so that is your lesson on cam timing and how to fix cam timing. All bows work the same. The bows that don't work the same are going to be the ones with yokes that go to the outside. Let's just reference Mathews DXT. It's got yokes up top. Or let's say the Destroyer series or the CPX series from Bowtech. You've got split yokes top and bottom. Call us anytime with the number in the description below, and we can walk you through that if you've got a press or you're wondering. Or you can come in and get it tuned. That is a super simple fix to make sure that your bow is as accurate as possible. Now, let's just recap really fast. If you're along for this video this long, let's just recap what happened. We drew the bow back. The bottom cam was touching, the top cam was not touching. And so we had 2 options. Now remember your options. If the bottom cam is touching, I can add twists to open that cam up, but what's that gonna do? That's gonna increase your poundage, increase your draw length, and increase your let off. Okay, it's gonna throw the bow out of spec. If your bow is high on poundage, like 71.5, you wanna make sure you go out of the opposing cam. If it hits it first, you twist it first. That's a great saying. So if the bottom cam hits it, you twist it, unless your poundage is really, really high. Our option on this bow, because it was hitting high on poundage, the top cam was out, and so I undid twist to the top cam to make sure I advanced that a little bit to match the bottom. Now I'm gonna check the poundage on this off video, but I'm sure it's hitting 70, 70.5. And now I know that everything's in spec and both cams are hitting perfectly. Now reference video 1 to see the oscillation in the arrow and why it's important to do this. But if you wanna come check it out, visit either one of our locations or hit us up on the phone. Appreciate everybody watching. Hope you have an awesome day.